Hey, look at that. We're recording right now, sitting here with our good friend Heather Coleman-Voss. And I said Voss. And we're hanging out, we're having some conversation. We're talking about the idea of how to be and stay connected during this because, listen, there's a lot of bad things that are happening around us. And if we don't get together and stay together, it might be happening to us and through us too. So
Mhm.
I like this as a topic, Heather. How are you? How are you staying connected?
I'm very fortunate to be a part of your Motor City Connect group and a few other groups in my community and online. And really, what we've been doing a whole lot of is I've had more Zoom meetings than I've ever had ever, and so which I think is great. And it's really wonderful to have the opportunity to see these people that I've known for a long time that have been in my Facebook or LinkedIn networks or whatever, but to see people I've known like you in person and online, and then to add these other folks in, and then really kind of realize that we already have a strong base for relationships, and to grow those. That's for me. That has been really wonderful. It's helped a lot.
What's the value or the difference maybe of being able to interact like this face to face where we can look at each other on video versus just like picking up the phone and making a call or shooting a quick text? Why is this so much more powerful?
I that's interesting. I think it's more powerful right now because we can't see each other anymore,
Right.
right? And so while I like talking to my friends on the phone, the ones that I miss or the people that I'm just kind of getting to know at a deeper level, body language and voice inflection plays a huge role. I think when you're forming these relationships. What do you think?
I do, right? There's so many visual cues that you miss on the telephone. And voice inflection's huge, right? We can have that on the phone. I'm occasionally sarcastic. I know, shock.
What?
I know, no one saw that coming, but sarcasm sucks via the written word,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
I've been begging for a sarcastifont forever because I think I need, like, I just want this. This is written in the sarcastifont, so I'm just playing. But with the voice, it's one thing, but just being able to see somebody, like just face to face,
Mhm.
it's not quite as good as the real thing, but it does elevate that relationship, and you know what people are doing. I'll be honest, there are more than one time during a phone call when I'm talking to somebody, I'm actually doing this, or I'm doing this, and I'm scrolling through something,
Mhm.
because you don't know and you can't see it. On this, you're busted, right? In a heartbeat. And there's an maybe it's an authenticity, but there's an honesty about this visual communication medium too.
That's an interesting point because we've gotten to this place where we can multitask. Like I can have the phone, the tablet, I can be scrolling here, talking to you here, and I think maybe we needed to all slow down. Maybe this is forcing us to slow down and focus.
Our friend Keith Stonehouse has been doing Late Night with Keith. And if you haven't checked out Late Night with Keith,
I'll have
do.
to do that. Yeah, for sure.
He's funny, man. He's funny.
Yeah.
He can be a little prickly every now and again, but I like that in a person. So for me, it's entertaining. But he asked, all right, we know all the bad stuff. Tell me about a positive that's going on here, right? As a result of this. And my response to him was very plain. This is a reset. This is
Yeah.
a mental reset. This is a spiritual reset. And this
Mhm.
is a slap upside the head because we didn't get it the last time there was a mental and spiritual reset, or the
Right.
time before that when there was a mental and spiritual reset. So to me, I think this stuff can be really kind of positive if we do the right things.
Well, I was talking to a friend yesterday, and we were discussing this and how we can't ever expect that we're going to go back to normal, because like he said, that normal is gone,
Oh, it's
and
gone.
it should be. But for the reasons that you're talking about, we I think we've lost sight of really important. And if this can be a spiritual reset for all of us, um, I don't know that there's a negative that can come out of that part, right? Just
100%.
appreciation for each other, and not just your friends and your neighbors and your family, but for each other across the world. I really feel like that message should be coming, that there are no different races. We are one human race, right? And we need each other.
100%. And I really wish that that was a more pervasive in our conversation, right? Because assuming this went down with the story we're told as to how it went down, some dude eats a bat in China, and next thing you know, 2 million people globally are affected by
Right.
that choice. It really shows you just how connected we really are, right? The interconnectedness and the interdependency of people all over this planet is being super exposed. And your point about us being one race, um, John George runs
Love
Motor
John.
City
Yeah.
Blightbusters, and we've brought groups there dozens of times to go knock down houses, and those were honestly and truly some of the most fulfilling things we ever did with Motor City Connect. And over the wall in Artist Village, it said, "My religion, love; my neighborhood, earth; my race, human."
Yep, love it.
And I've seen a meme since seeing that years ago. I've seen some memes on Facebook, and they had one fourth thought. I can't remember what the ones I saw were, but in Blightbusters they had just those three, and I thought, what an absolutely heart-stopping message,
Mhm.
because what a great reminder that is.
Yeah.
Love is all you need. Someone should sing a song about that.
Hmm.
That would be,
Feel like it might be out there already.
wait, what? Because it would be a hit, big time. I do. I really, I want us to go that way. I'm not. It's Good Friday as we record this. Um, and while raised Christian, I don't necessarily subscribe as a whole to the Christian faith. I will tell you,
Okay.
I'm exceedingly spiritual.
Yeah.
I will say that I'm a big fan of Christ, and I have issue with the Ians, right? It's like, so the Christ part is cool. It's the last part, the Ian part, that throws me off a bit. Um, but the teachings and the lessons, I think, are really important, especially about love thy neighbor like you love yourself, right? and
Mhm.
and I feel like we miss out on that. And what I really intend to tell you is, we're at a point now where I think, they talk about God, they talk about the Son, and then they talk about the Holy Ghost, right, and the Holy Spirit. And I think if we could shift our focus from God and Christ to the Holy Spirit right now, because that's the piece that kind of lives on with us, supposedly, I think that would be a really powerful message. And I'd like to see somebody take that from the pulpit and try and shove that down our throats, because I would probably sit there mouth wide open and be like, yes, feed me
Mhm.
more, because I think there's some
Yeah,
value there.
it's all encompassing.
It is. And we can all kind of get into that piece of it, because
Mhm.
that's what to me love is, right? That's where
Mhm.
it's centered. So,
Love
ooh,
that.
look at me diving into religion.
Yeah,
Woo-hoo-hoo.
that took a turn I wasn't expecting. That's stuff.
Well, it's Passover, right? I mean, it's
Right.
like, this is the holiest week of the year on the planet,
Mhm.
so it's kind of a big deal. And it's an interesting time to be thinking about that. Not that God had anything to do with this, right? I don't necessarily subscribe to that, um, but it's an interesting thing. So to me, it's that connection. What are you connected to?
Mhm. Agreed. Agreed.
Want to jump into politics and really piss some people off? Just,
No.
I
What,
kid.
what, I think we could leave that for a different day.
Yeah, no, yeah, like never. I would like to do it
Right.
on the 12th of never would be perfect. That would be good for me. So I like it. What you were playing some games online, right? Through Zoom. you were staying connected with friends.
Yes. One of my girlfriends found Cards Against Humanity uh, online. And so we were playing that, which was fun. I know that there are some other apps, like I think you can watch, is it Netflix movies or something with people at home, or they have something like that. So I
Okay.
think that's really kind of cute. I know that my girlfriend was telling me that her son, who, got sent home from college, like all of them did, they all turn their phones on and they just talk to each other while they're doing other things, like throughout the day. They're just watching TV together or whatever, and then they'll just talk to each other and go back to what they were doing. And I thought that was kind of cool too. People are creative. People are finding other ways to, you know but I think it's also interesting is you're right about the phone calling. Like I even posted something silly on my Facebook about this, like where in the past, if my friends would Facebook chat me, I'd be like, what do they want?
What's wrong with you?
And now I'm like, oh yay, because I, again, wanting to see each other, I think is a big deal right now.
It is, and it feels like totally normal all of a sudden.
Hmm.
And I don't know why that is, but I think it's great. I think we kind of need that, right? This is
Hmm.
that human interaction is so important for us. I'm trying to find, there's this new app that like you can play games with multiple people. It's like board games or headboards or some crap. And I don't know why I can't find it all of a sudden. So I saw it like 6 times in the last week, and now I don't know what it's called. Oh well, it's the moment's past. I don't care anymore. I do. I like the idea of the interaction. It's just so much better. Although it's weird, right? Because you feel like you have to, be a little more prim or proper, and again, stay kind of focused on what you're doing.
Yeah, except for the other night when we were all just chatting and drinking wine and stuff. Which was fun. It was social, and a
That's
big
right.
deal too.
I mean, heck, if you haven't gotten on a networking or happy hour,
Happy
right?
hour.
A
Mhm.
Zoom happy hour is all the rage these days. You
Yeah.
know, then I think they're going to start happening at like 4 o'clock, and then 3 o'clock, and then 2 o'clock. And that's an interesting point we were talking about before I hit the record button. Right? Is that can be a slippery slope a little bit.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Nobody knows what time it is or what day it is or whatever. And lots of people like right now, I have a lot more free time, so I get it. But I do worry about it. I worry about, I like my wine, I'm not gonna say don't, but I think that we have to just collectively we have to be a little careful, and I think part of it too is we are in this rapidly changing adjustment phase, right? Like every time we get more information, things change again, and then more things are shut down or more, So I understand that people are trying to find comfort in whatever way that they can. But I feel like we got to keep an eye on that stuff too, because suicides are on the rise. If addictions, if there are existing addictions, they're not going to get better right now. You know,
Right.
or the potential for that. And I think we might hit a point here soon where maybe we all level out a little bit. I don't know. What do you think?
I hope so. You and I have chatted a bunch this week, which is awesome. So thank you for
Hmm.
that.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Um, one of the conversations I shared with you was one of the most memorable lessons in my schooling came from a communications professor named Ray Queel. Hey Ray.
Mhm.
Ray said, "The only universal truth that I know is that people seek altered states of consciousness," right? And so I was like, "Oh, that's interesting. What do you mean by that?" And so he's like, "Well, you think about what people do to change their construct, right? Maybe they're into martial arts, maybe they're doing yoga, maybe they're meditating, maybe they go running, maybe they work out, maybe they drink, maybe they do drugs, maybe they have sex. All of these things can change your state of consciousness. And the only thing that is pervasive is that people are doing things to change that. So, if you are drinking too much, maybe try some drugs. Kidding.
Yeah.
Um, right? Alter how you're actually achieving that goal, right? Because honestly, as someone who drinks, if I'm being totally candid, there's a few, like maybe a beer that I'm like, ooh, that tastes really good. But most beer, not that great. There's maybe a wine that I've had is like, ooh, that's delicious. Most wine, not delicious. And same with bourbon and all of it, right? We're not doing it because we're like, oh my God, I can't wait for the flavor. Give me flavor, country. We're doing it because we're trying to feel different.
Hmm.
So think of alternative ways that you can feel different. Maybe it's a walk in the woods, right? Maybe it's a game of cards with the wife and kids.
Hmm.
Maybe it's, hop on a paddleboard and go for a ride, says the guy who can't wait to hop on the paddleboard and go for a ride.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yoga, I know a lot of people are getting into yoga right now,
Love yoga.
meditation, that type of thing. I try to, get my 10,000 plus steps in, whenever possible, even if it means pacing around the house, then I'll do that. But yeah, I think it's important. It's just, there is no doubt that most of us are feeling anxious and depressed, right? I don't know that you can be happy all the time in this situation. So I think it's important to cry if you need to cry. If you are feeling upset, like whatever's going on inside, acknowledge it, and then get back up and then move on. And then if you need to lay on the sofa for 8 hours today, then do that if that's what you need to do, right? Like I am seeing a lot of people, and I think that the message is important, saying, I can't be so motivated and empowered and doing all new things that I've never done before and making this my best life right now. And please don't make me feel bad about that, because we are in a state of collective trauma. And I think it's important to recognize that side of this too, right?
To own it, to acknowledge it, to accept it. What you said about being sad, I conceived this concept of momentary mastery years and years ago. And momentary mastery is the idea that if you love the moments you live, you get to live the moments you love. And
Hmm.
it's based on the thought that when we look at our past, it really is nothing but a collection of moments. We always talk about, I had a bad day. Dude, it's 11 o'clock in the morning. Don't write off the entire day, right? You had a bad set of minutes, right? So
Hmm.
adjust, right? Accept those, right? They can suck, and be with them and let them suck. And if you want to be mad, be mad. If you want to be sad, be sad. You want to be glad, be glad. But at some point, go back to status, right? Whatever that normal position for you is in your energy flow, get back to that. And if you need to go back and visit the anger, go back and visit it. But don't
Hmm.
carry that shit with you all day. Give me a
Right.
break. Why? That's miserable and miserable making and on you at that point, right?
Hmm.
So I love what you said about just be with how you're feeling, right? And if it takes an hour, it takes an hour. If it takes three, it takes three. Who cares, right?
Hmm.
It's not that big of a deal.
Well, if you don't acknowledge the feelings, then you can't work through them. That's where you start to try to bury them, right? And that's where things start to get, that's anxiety, trauma, PTSD, anything in that area, that's going to cause physical issues for you too. People are reporting a lot of people having bad headaches. A lot of my clients are starting to have stomach problems. I understand that I have that issue as well. Um, Insomnia. There's all kinds of things that are starting to happen. And I think part of that is okay, because we're not acknowledging our feelings. We have to acknowledge the emotions so that we can move through them, right, and then get to the next.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, I was working in the virtual reality space for a little bit. And as I was doing research on the space, the coolest thing I found was this company that had recreated war like simulation of war, and it was specifically for vets dealing with PTSD.
Mm.
Because here's what happens: war is 90% sitting around and preparing for something, right? And then it's like 8% of walking through whatever you're going through. And then it's 2% of the craziest shit you've ever been to. And this is not me speaking. I have not been to war. I have no idea what I'm talking about. So please, this is what I was told in this video from the PTSD experts. So this is not, I don't know, but this is what they said. Um, and so in that 2%, what happened is, and I'm supposed to be on a call right now, but I got to finish this and I'll get back to them in a minute. In that 2%, you get so traumatized. It's so crazy. You have not the tools to deal with it, and
Right.
you end up repressing it. And
Mhm.
every time it pops back up, you repress it more. And every time it pops back up, you keep repressing it. And so, what they end up doing is they allow you to go through that simulation in real time, talk through it as it's going on, and really actually work through the process. And because it's virtual reality, you're fully immersed in it, just like you were the time before. But
Mm.
I don't want to say it cures it like that, but the studies prove remarkable efficacy of in terms of helping with it. And it's kind of a wild story.
Mhm. Yeah, I hadn't heard of that before. Nice to
Yeah,
know that they're developing things like that, you know?
it's neat. It really is. It's kind of a good thing. I don't want to leave on that though. So let's talk about something that people can do. What what uh, what do you think from a, I'm just going to shoot this guy a quick text to say I'll call you right back. What do you think is a piece, like a piece of action that folks can take?
I still really am thinking that reaching out in whatever way you're comfortable. If you're comfortable doing these big Zoom parties, I mean, I've seen people's birthday parties on Zoom, and people are, having a blast. If you're not, um, then just stay in touch with people. Call people especially if you're home alone. That would be really, I think, tough. So making sure that you are staying connected, is going to be really important, and allowing yourself the time to, like you said, if you're sad right now, then you get to be sad for a little while, and that's okay. If you might need some, like, I know a lot of people are like, why am I so tired? I'm not doing anything. Well, that's what anxiety and depression and trauma will do to you. It will make you tired. So if you need to sleep, for some people, that should be something that they're doing for themselves. I think self-care is going to be really important for all of us right now too. Whatever that looks like to you.
I don't remember if it was Louise Hay or some spiritual sort of law of attraction person. You know what? It was Esther Hicks. I know exactly who it was, right? From Esther Hicks fame, right? Abraham, talking about from a vibration setting.
Hmm.
If things are not well in your world, you end up attracting things that aren't necessarily good for you.
Hmm.
Your point of attraction stops when you're sleeping. So sleep can actually be the best medicine for you if you're going through tough times,
Hmm.
because you can at least alleviate more of tough times coming your way. So I'm a big proponent of listen to your body, right? Do what you need to do for you. And oh my God, please ask for help.
Yes,
Right.
yes. Please
If
ask
you're
for help.
struggling, ask. So many caregivers, so many caretakers, so many people willing to step up and do what they can to make you feel better. And if you can't
Mhm.
find any of them, you got two of them sitting right here.
Yes, absolutely.
Reach,
100%.
reach out. So this is cool. Thank you for joining me. You're on
Thank
video
you.
too. How's your YouTube channel coming along?
I'm working on it. I have some plans over the next few days. So thanks to you and David and some other people that are kind of giving me that push. So
Mm.
Appreciate you having me on again.
You're lucky that there's a stay in place order. Otherwise, it'd be a size 12 in your backside. I'm kicking your butt, man. Let's get going. All right.
I promise it's
All
coming.
right. Good. Because people need to hear more from you. That is for sure. All right. You're awesome, Heather Coleman. Rest
You,
of you, the other thing.
Jerry Bean.
And the rest of you people, I want you to stay awesome too. I have a sneaking suspicion we're going to come back and do this again. We're going to do this again?
We're going to do this again. For
Okay.
sure.
We're going to do this again. We'll see you guys soon.
Bye, everybody.